What are some things that you commonly witness that a lot of business owners don't realize that can be kind of chipping away at their wallet? How does that balance help you help your clients? There's obviously an uptick in what's been going on in Buffalo. Those relationships, like you started to say before, in Buffalo, they go a long way.
Buffalo Beans Business.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us again for another installation of Buffalo Beans Business. And today we're being joined by Derek Roller from Fitzgerald and Roller PC. Derek, thanks for chiming in here. How's your day been going?
Busy as usual, Mike. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. We just want to get a little bit more insight to what sets you guys apart. As we're always trying to, learn a little bit more about the people that we work with and some of the businesses that are out there in Buffalo, because, there's obviously an uptick in what's been going on in Buffalo. And it's exciting for me, and I imagine it's exciting for you. So anything new and interesting in your world lately?
Yeah, Mike. We're trying to be a part of exactly what you're talking about. There's a lot of law firms in Buffalo, it seems. In particular, my firm, we do civil litigation type of cases, personal injury cases, things like that. And we're a little bit smaller than most of the firms that everyone's used to seeing on TV, every other advertisement, the phone numbers that are out there. And we're a little different than that. We're a little bit smaller. We're focused more on quality of representation. Attorneys in those bigger firms handle 200 and 300 cases at a time, and if you're going to handle a case the right way, it's kind of impossible to have that many cases on your desk and really do what you need to do to provide the best representation for someone.
And I can relate to that because, we're not the largest marketing or advertising firm in town. And what I do take a lot of pride in, similar to what you're saying, is that, we're small enough to be able to have that personal touch, but yet we're busy enough and dedicated enough to be able to make sure that we can still handle. So I think it handles what's on our plate. So I think that's something that it fits the Buffalo model a little bit more. Can you kind of relate to that, because it almost seems like it's complementary to the size of our town, size of our city. News travels fast in Buffalo, and do you find that people are more comfortable with that approach?
Yeah, definitely. It's more of a personal approach to things. Like when you have a client having a problem or needing answers, they can call you, and you could say the same thing for us. When we represent people, they're able to call our office, talk to the attorneys who are handling their cases, me or Brian. They're able to call us on our cell phones, whereas you have some of the bigger companies, you can go take a look at their websites and you see 10, 20, 30 people employed as litigation representatives, paralegals, settlement specialists, and those are the people that are handling a lot of the claims at these bigger law firms, and they're not attorneys. So you have to ask yourself, do you want an attorney who you can reach anytime you want handling your case, or do you want someone who's not an attorney handling your case? So that's a lot of times what it comes down to, and I think what sets us apart. And we're small enough to be able to give that personal touch, but we have a lot of years of experience combined between the two attorneys here, so we've seen pretty much everything in the cases, and we can respond and handle anything that comes our way.
Yeah, so now, Brian, that's a good point. So there's something. So I think it's like a nice, from what I've seen so far, a nice pairing, because Brian's been in practice for quite some time, and you have been in practice. Not to say you're right out of law school. You've got some experience. How does that balance help you help your clients?
Right. Well, Brian's been an attorney for 40 years, tried cases all across Western New York, has tried all kinds of different cases, has seen everything. Whereas myself, I've been an attorney since 2009, so I bring a little bit of a younger perspective to it in terms of, how do people communicate and receive and give information in today's world with technology, and how do we present that information effectively in court, and how do we go about obtaining information, working electronically, electronic medical records, electronic police accident reports, things like that. So my knowledge in that regard, combined with his experience, that speaks to the issues that routinely have come up in cases throughout the years, and we can combine that and certainly provide the most effective representation for someone.
Yeah, I think that sounds like it makes a lot of sense and a nice balance. And once again, I can relate in my field. I feel as if your field is probably going to be where there's going to be less instant change, whereas my field with digital marketing and things, every day almost seems a little bit different, and I just need to keep hiring younger people. But now, when we go back to a little bit what we were talking about before, and I know, right? I don't think either one of us are trying to badmouth any of the larger firms. It's just a different. It all depends on preference on who you want to have represent you. But when you were talking about these companies that have multiple people on their website, dozens of people. Is it the case that when you go and work with some firm that's like that you may not just have one attorney, so you may be bounced around through paralegals and attorneys and not necessarily have a personal relationship with one person? Is that kind of what you're getting at before?
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility, and how it might very well work is you call one of the law firms whose number you probably have memorized, and then you might talk to an attorney the first time. That attorney might not be the one who ends up being assigned your case. When your case does get assigned to someone, a paralegal or a litigation specialist might be the one that is tracking down the accident reports or incident reports from what happened to you and examining them and finding out who's possibly liable. So, the attorney might not be doing that. The litigation specialist or paralegal might be getting your medical records and looking at them and summarizing them for the attorney. The attorney might not look at your medical records specifically, but might just read someone else, what someone else wrote for him. So you want an attorney who is going to be taking those steps for you and communicating to you what your case is really about every step of the way, or do you want someone else who's not an attorney doing that?
Right. Yeah. So it kind of turns into that telephone game to a certain extent. It could, right? Whereas the story kind of changes a little bit as it goes down the phone line.
Mm-hmm. We're focused more on quality of representation in each case here rather than just the number of cases we have, and I think that comes through in how we're able to communicate with our clients and handle the cases effectively.
What are some of the things that you personally, and then professionally, what are some of the niches that you enjoy doing, and working on more?
Yeah, we handle pretty much all types of cases here. Anything in the litigation field, really, and what I mean by that is, when you get into an auto accident and someone runs a red light and hits you and causes, serious physical injury, you might have to bring a suit against that person to recover, bodily injury damages for what happened to you, or a certain amount of lost wages, or, if you have some type of an experience with a medical professional or a hospital or a nursing home where you or a loved one is injured because of what happened, then you might have to bring a suit against whoever was involved in that. And that's the kind of thing we specialize in, and that even extends to businesses. Businesses have relationships, contracts get broken, unfortunately. Things aren't upheld on each end, and we do commercial litigation here as well.
Yeah, and I think there's certain people who have they kind of look down their nose at some of the personal injury stuff. But really what it boils down to, from what I gather, especially with what you do, is that you're just trying to make this individual be whole again, similar to like what happens in the insurance industry. It's not necessarily that you're trying to take advantage of the situation. You're just trying to rectify a bad situation.
Right, exactly. And, these people who might not have the highest opinion of what goes on, it's probably hard for them to really speak to it until it happens to them or someone in their family. When something happens to you because of medical negligence or a car accident or, any number of situations, and you're not able to go to work and earn wages for your family, or your leg's broken and you can't walk for 6 months. That's why people have insurance, is to make you whole when something like that happens and compensate you for what you have to go through. And that's the type of service that we provide for people.
So do you have, is there any advice that you would have for someone who's kind of in the middle of saying, is this something that I should be pursuing, or is this just, you get where I'm going with this? Is this just something that I should just say, well, I had a bad run here? What advice, would you be comfortable giving to somebody who's kind of in the middle of not knowing if this is something that they should pursue legally?
Right, and that's probably the most common question people have. They don't know what to do when something first happens. And the best advice I could give in a situation like that is to just call us to explain what happened. We'll be able to advise you on, what we think your rights are and what we're able to do for you. And then you can make the decision from there as to whether that's something that you want to pursue, but at least you'll know. You'll know that we'll be able to investigate what happened, who the responsible parties are, who the insurance companies are, be able to get your medical records and determine what happened to you. And one of I think the best things about our firm is that we do work here actually on both sides of cases. We defend cases for some insurance companies, and we also handle cases for plaintiffs against insurance companies. So we know how insurance companies like to defend cases. We know how they like to pick them apart and find out what the weaknesses of the plaintiff's case are and exploit those. So we know ahead of time what those are going to be and how to best represent the client on the plaintiff's side and advise them on how to avoid those types of things. So that's another benefit that you're going to get from our type of firm rather than just a bigger type of plaintiffs only firm in Buffalo.
Yeah, like somebody who says, we only take care of this one thing. It seems like you have a more holistic perspective on things. So then now when we're, once again, talking about the people who are just on the fence and don't know what to do, you see there's things out there, and I'm not going to go and name any names, but there's like online services and things of that nature. And there's also, when in doubt, Google it out kind of thing. That's probably not, that might be a place to start, but I would guess that you would say don't hang your hat on that.
Yeah, there's no substitute for being able to call our phone number, and I'm going to answer the phone and listen to what you have to say and tell you what I think. There's no substitute for that, and I can't guarantee that you're going to be able to get that benefit with anyone else.
Yeah, and like I said, I've heard of a lot of different people make a pitch towards, pay $10 a month and then you can get legal advice and legal representation. But to me, that, I don't know, I like to actually have a conversation with somebody who I could trust, and build that relationship. And I think that the balance between you and Brian would be a good place to be, because those relationships, like we started to say before in Buffalo, they go a long way. And I think that I would prefer to do business with somebody with like what you're talking about, because I don't like to be a number, and that when you're talking about something as significant as someone trying to help you get back on your feet and recoup stuff that you monetarily deserve, I would rather not be a number.
Right. When we represent people with serious physical injuries and problems, it's something that they're going to have to deal with the rest of their life. So do you want to have an in-person conversation with the attorney that's actually going to be representing you from start to finish and build a trust with that person and know that you're a priority and you're being taken care of by the attorney that actually is handling your case? I think anybody would want that, and that's something that we provide here.
Yeah, and the other thing, like we were talking before, before this conversation here on the podcast, we were talking about. I guess I said, there's so many places that are available that are probably easier for you, to access. But you mentioned that being right there in the city is a huge advantage to your firm. Because of the fact that you can get to the courthouses in a split second. And I found that to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, we've been downtown since I started, at least. I'm sure before that. And, Buffalo's a small community, as you said earlier, and we know all the attorneys in the city. We see them out, and we're handling cases in the courts, and gotten to know everyone, and it's a small community. So that's important, because how you handle cases and how credible you are, it gives you a certain reputation. And when word gets around that you handle your cases well and are a formidable opponent and a good attorney, that can only produce a better result for the client. And I have firsthand knowledge that that's exactly the type of reputation we have here in Buffalo.
So what if somebody is they've been in an accident or something happened that didn't go exactly the way they anticipated it, in a medical scenario? Do you go to them?
Well, we can. If that's something that's required, usually the first step is to have a phone conversation, find out what happened to the person, where they live, all those kinds of details, and then from there we'll figure out how do we meet. When's the soonest possible time we can have a meeting? What's convenient for them? If you're stuck in the house because you broke your leg in an auto accident and you don't have a car, we'll come to you. If you work downtown anyway and we can meet downtown, we'll do that too. It's just, it all depends on the individual circumstances. But you can always reach us by phone, and we'll just we take every situation differently as they go.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that approach. Is that there's no cookie cutter approach to it. It's let's get in touch. Let's figure out what's going on, and let's mold a solution around this that situation specifically.
Right. Yeah, you said it well earlier that we're a small enough office to be very flexible and have the ability to do that, but we've got the experience to not be afraid to handle any case.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Well, Derek, I really appreciate you, giving us some time here to learn more about what you do and how you help Buffalo. So once again, this is Mike Bean from Buffalo Beans Business, being joined by Derek Roller from Fitzgerald and Roller PC. How can we get in touch with you, or how can someone get in touch with you if they are in one of those situations, whether they're on the fence or maybe even a situation where I've heard times where someone called one of these very memorable numbers and no one got back to them, and it's kind of like for whatever reason, I don't know. So what's the best way to get in touch with Fitzgerald and Roller PC?
The easiest way, Mike, is just to call. It's 852-2000, or you can check out our website at brianfitzgeraldlaw.com. And thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been great. We'll hopefully, we can do something in the future. So if something pops up, because there's so many different things that we see in the news, and it's just like, whoa, how is that going to shake out? So if something like that happens, if you're open to it, we'll get you on and we'll kind of get your opinion on it. And I hope you have a good day. It seems like the sun's actually coming out here after we had a little bit of a storm here. So hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mike. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Derek.
Bye, Mike.
Buffalo Beans Business.